I'm now going to move on to just a little bit more about editing your citations and also how you can add notes in Zotero. We've looked a little bit at editing information. You can select a citation and in the right-hand panel, take a look at it. Again, this one looks fairly straightforward. It's a book. We have information. If I wanted to add another author, if there was another author, I could click the plus sign and add an author. If this was not actually an author but an editor, I could change that with the drop down to the left with a little arrowhead. I could also add other information in here, so there's not a place currently. I could add a place in if there was one. If for some reason this was supposed to have a comma after University of California, I could put that in, but it looks like that's correct. So you basically just click in those fields and add what you want. I mentioned this earlier, but you can also change the item type. So if for some reason it really wasn't a book, you could change that to something else. It has book section for a chapter, but you have things such as document, which you may end up using fairly often for primary sources, or something like a manuscript or a map, etc. So there are different options here available to you. For a citation, you can also add notes. There's a notes option up here. Click add, and you can type information. Perhaps you're doing an annotation. You have some options for basic formatting. You can also hyperlink to something. So if I had a URL, I could put that in. I'm just going to cancel that. I'm going to go back to clicking on the title, and now I see info again. So I have info, but here's my note that is attached to my citation. I also have the option to tag things. So for instance, if I wanted to, I could even tag things such as read. I could tag things as use for something like this. Or probably what a lot of people use them for is maybe to just describe the item more succinctly. So perhaps you want to say, you know, I'm going to use this for labor. So you can add different tags, and then up in this field, you can search for things like your fields and tags. So it's a way to potentially search your own database of citations. And you can also add related items, so you could kind of connect to other citations that you have in here. So I'm going to click OK, and this is kind of telling myself that, hey, I feel like these items are well connected to each other and I want to capture those connections in some way. So these options are all available across the top of this right-hand panel as you're working with your citations.